Back in the Joe Show here on AM 930 Progressive Talk. Thanks for being with us here on this Tuesday. And an unconventional convention. We've seen the conventional conventions come and go and taken away their message. But Grandma says we need an unconventional convention. And she's here in the studio with us. Grandma, welcome back to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And Serene Stevenson, your real name.
That's right.
Okay. But you go by Grandma.
Yeah, it's. I'm surprised at how many people recognize me as Grandma.
Yeah.
After I launched Us for President on my 80th birthday a year ago.
Okay.
And it's us.
80, I never guess.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to be 81. It's a year later.
Well, good for you. It's still going strong.
That's true.
And you say Us for President.
Yeah. No, the idea is that it's. Our system is out of date. Information went to the Congress and to the president by Pony Express, when the system was put together about how to run our country. But ever since the invention of the computer and moving into the world of technology, something totally different is possible. And the US stands for you and me being in a united state of consciousness about who we are as human beings and willing to represent ourselves as precedents, models, and examples of how we want our country to be. And essentially, the Unconventional Convention is an attempt to address the how of doing that. And it's gonna be really fun. I looked at all the things wrong with the conventions. For example, the purpose of a convention is to elect somebody, and they send that fool off to Washington to do an impossible job in an impossible situation, and then spend time saying, "Oh, he's a disappointment. He didn't meet his promises," and grouch about it, and nothing happens. And so I'm saying I'm not running for anything. In fact, I don't have any. My position isn't for sale like our presidency is in our Congress. I am running this whole bit of mine on my Social Security check. I have had no fundraisers. I have no plutocrats to tell me what I should do or say, and I'm having a gas. I mean, it's really been a run. I didn't realize that realizing a vision would be so much work, though.
Yeah, I believe that. Absolutely.
So the finality of this really 1 year of very hard work is to bring people to something that's run totally different from the conventions. I said the first thing, nobody's being elected or selected. No big money. No, how can I say it? No all talk and no asking the people to do anything. Making a big deal about what you're going to be when you're the president or a senator or whatever. But not asking what John F. Kennedy said a long time ago. We really, really have to ask our people to get their heads in a totally different place and give up some old habits and some old beliefs and enter the age of technology in a way that it doesn't dominate us and make a fascist state of our country, but gives us an opportunity to talk to each other and agree. And, I mean, just think of it. We could talk about an issue for a month, and we could have a vote across the country. And to me, that's better than voting for a presidency. We can find out how people feel because we can talk worldwide, as a matter of fact. We can have a worldwide vote on something, especially when 76% of the people in what we call backward countries have cell phones. I mean, the conversation in the world we live in is so totally different. And I'm excited about the fact that it's going to take our ingenuity and our creativity and our young people. And I want to tell you what's happening if it's time for a break. It's our young people really have the potential because they've mastered texting it's second nature of them to be in the tech world, but they haven't been given any goals. And Grandma says, What better gift as a grandma could I give to young people than to say inspire them to look at what the changes could be and how to go about making them without we're going to have a revolution if we're not careful. But Grandma says conscious evolution is the way to go.
Well, talking about goals, do you think that previous generations have, and maybe this generation too, is coached on the wrong goals, told that we need to strive for the wrong things in life, and that maybe our focus hasn't been in the right place?
I think you're right. I mean, if you listen to NPR, one of the things that happens at 7 o'clock is a report on the economy. There's a report on us as consumers, not citizens, not whether we're happy, but are we paying more for gasoline? Are we buying big items, or are we early in our Christmas shopping? We are a materialistic society, and if we don't change and value each other instead of our things, our possessions, I feel my heart breaks. That's the only way I can describe it as a grandmother, to see the possibility of it without it being realized. And that's why I'm working so hard to present some new ways to think about things.
Yeah, you think about, and I had this conversation with a colleague when I was just getting into this business, was before I was really deep into the news business or had ever done a talk show, but I was doing a lot of soul searching and thinking about things, and he was in a different, a higher economic stratus than I was, but just because of his circumstance. But I just asked the question one time: why does, when it comes to writing news, for instance, why does everything there has to be? Part of the story is what was the financial cost of this, or It's part of our value judgment, I guess. We hear about someone's house burning down. We get an estimate of the damage that was done, cost estimate of the damage. We in most cases that's part of how we determine the value of something. It's a big part of it in many cases. But when you think about developing countries or not so developed countries, in a lot of those places, I mean, say, a family loses a child, for instance. Here in this country, it'll inevitably lead to a lawsuit, and there will be money exchanged over that death. But in other countries, I would suspect that there's no mechanism for that, and that's not the mindset, because everything isn't focused on wealth or the lack of wealth, or do you not understand what I'm getting at?
I do, but I think that's changing, Joe. China and India and South Korea are moving really quickly to having billionaires and poor people with no middle. A lot of those two countries have not had a middle class, but the developing middle class in China, for example, is really beginning to be very angry about seeing billionaires in great big apartment houses in places where they used to live. So that I really think the crisis is worldwide in terms of, do we value happiness and a good life for all of us, or do we value our new Porsche or our new estate? And I think money is the culprit. Money isn't relevant anymore, and I know people are going to say, "What do you mean, Serene?" But it isn't. It represents energy, and guess whose energy it represents? If we are the work energy, we are what gives money value. Mm-hmm. And we could get rid of it. We could have our own banks and make energy deposits. I took care of you for a week while you were having an operation, and I get so many credits for doing a good deed. Or I noticed a pothole in your driveway where I was at your house, and I fixed it. And you can say, hey, I'm going to give you some energy credits. Thanks. I mean, when you think of it, people say, I'm going to create jobs. It's a matter of jobs. It just shows how foolish that person is. It isn't a job. There's work everywhere so much work. But I want to talk about the unconventional convention
real
here
quick.
for a minute.
Well, but we have to take a quick break. So before we do, tell people what's happening, when it's happening, and where.
It's called an unconventional convention. It's going to be held October 14th, Sunday afternoon from 1 to 5 at the President's Dance Studio. And I forget the street. It's across from the Dakota Art Store and up above where the Italian restaurant used to be on, what is that street?
1412 Cornwall.
That's it, thank you.
There you go. All right, and we'll have more information about the Unconventional Convention and more with Serene Stevenson, Grandma, coming up next here on The Joe Show. The Joe Show here on AM 930 Progressive Talk. My guest today, Serene Stevenson. You might know her as Grandma. She blogs at Grandma Says, GRAMMA Says, SEZ.blogspot.com. And coming up this Sunday, it's the first annual. You're going to make this an annual event? Or
no.
That's just
this is the first and the last.
The one and only Unconventional Convention. It's happening at the President's Studio, 1412 Cornwall, from 1 till 5 Sunday afternoon. And lots of things going on. What are some of the activities you got planned?
Well, when you arrive, you'll be greeted by the Bellingham Marching Band. We're going to sing America and the Star Spangled Banner because we're patriarchal. That's a slip. And then you'll come up and you'll be organized. I'm going to teach for about 20 minutes. Some very simple techniques for evolution of consciousness and coming to a peaceful agreement, something you can use in your family and in settling arguments and so forth. And after that, the elders will stay and pick issues to make one simple request of an action that would solve a problem locally. But the fun part is that the people who don't have votes, kids from 5 to 18, are going to work with Drew Robinson in her Bellingham Children's Studio, and they're going to produce a manifesto of what they think adults should be doing to make the world a better place for them to be part of. And it's going to be really fun. I have all ages of kids coming, and their parents are very excited about the possibility because they're saying, my kid's interested in politics. And I say, hey, we don't want to be interested in politics. We want to be interested in social change and moderate, exciting new ideas to make the place a better world for all of us.
Okay, we want to make that change, but there are many who don't want to make changes, think that, for instance, the system we have, this capitalist system, and our focus on material goods is a positive, is a good thing, that a motivator. And how do you think, just going back to what you said you'd be teaching a little bit about at the Unconventional Convention, how do you communicate with someone who has that divergent of an opinion?
Well, that is the skill that we all have to learn, because it isn't easy. And I think the thing that is the most important thing, it's like where I am coming from when I view your anger or your inability to see new ideas. It's like my ability to persuade you by my being a precedent, an example of how you get along if you are able to be peaceful and we don't have a choice. We have so many young people across the world that don't have any work, no goals, and nothing to do, and we're either faced with continued violent revolutions all over the world, or waking up and making a change. And all I can say is you have to change you, and that's why I'm retiring with this particular event. I have done a year's work. I selected myself as the leader, and now I'm handing it over to y'all. It's you and me, but I'm going to place the emphasis on you on this next on this next year. I'll be available to answer questions, give talks. I'll continue trying to raise the consciousness and be inspiring. But it's going to be more fun, and I'm not going to spend any time on a computer at all.
Okay, I had enough of that, huh?
Because I'm terrible at it. But I really think we've got to talk. We've got to have some fun doing this, and that's why the kids writing a manifesto and presenting it to the adults, and we're going to send that manifesto to the candidates, the two presidential candidates, and say, hey, start saying yes to us, and we want this done, and we're going to do it. Make it possible for us by law or whatever. Yeah. Listen to what young people have to say, the kind of world that they envision, that they'd like to grow up into, and that they would like to have handed off to them, and get some of that input, and not just say, okay, this is our policy now because it's the policy I think we should have, and this is our policy on this issue because it's the policy I believe in. Yeah, and it's time to involve them in a meaningful way. And give them, teach them what service means. I have a companion government idea with 3 departments, yes and how. Youth Energy Services, Adult Nourishment Direction, and Honoring Our Wisdom. That's, Grandma says, if I were selected to be head of that companion government, those are the 3 goals I would want people to work on, because we can do it.
Now, by companion government, what do you mean?
That means it's informal. It has no legal structure. It's our decision to work together to accomplish something.
Do you think something like that could be effective? Would it have enough strength to make things happen?
Well, if 10 million people can watch American Idol, the dance shows. The people are watching and listening, but they're not doing, and we have to inspire them to learn and do. And that's what I say. Yes, we can, but the issue is yes and how. And Grandma says, let's work together and be creative and figure out the how of a world that people can be happy and peaceful in.
All right. Once again, it's Grandma's Unconventional Convention. It's happening this Sunday from 1 till 5 at the Presence Studio, 1412 Cornwall Avenue here in Bellingham. And people want to get more information. Do you have a website they can find out more?
No website, just the blog spot. And
that's Grandma Says, GRAMMASEZ.blogspot.com. Can I give the email address?
Sure.
US for Precedent, that is, at gmail.com. And Serene, well, good luck with the one and only, and maybe it won't be the only. Maybe some of the young people involved will pick up the ball.
You have to organize the next one, Jeff.
Okay. The Unconventional Convention, once again this Sunday. And great to see you again, Grandma.
Blessings from Serene to all.
And now it's time for one last cup of Joe on The Joe Show on AM 930 Progressive Talk.
Heartening news from the Walmart front. The first ever strikes by Walmart retail workers have spread to 6 cities now, including Seattle, Dallas, Seattle, Miami, Washington, D.C., Sacramento, and San Francisco. Workers are protesting company attempts to silence and retaliate against workers for speaking out for improvements on the job, according to a press release. These, of course, are ununionized workers, so it really takes a lot to step off the job when you don't have the protection of a union or a union contract. And I have to suspect that a good number of these people will be losing their jobs, as did meat cutters who were working for a Walmart down in Texas, I believe, and they tried to unionize. Well, the store just got rid of the meat department. But once again, people standing up, workers standing up for their rights. against a huge multinational corporation. Hope you have a great Tuesday. Back tomorrow. Till then, good day, Northwest Washington, wherever you are.